So, funny enough, actually, doing this topic, funny enough, I had this thought a couple times. I often, as a kid, would listen to my parents or grandparents or uncles, aunts, what have you, and they say things, and I'm thinking, that don't make no fucking sense. Like, wait, say that again? And then they say, I'm like, that don't make no sense. And the craziest thing about it is, if you caught that elder in a funny situation, they'd be like, it'll make sense when you get older. And you're like, no. I wonder how many people probably feel this way. And when I talk to people about like things that their mom or their dad or, you know, older people said to them in their life, they're always like, nah, bro, it never made any sense. We actually touched on something. You're already crying. They turn around and say to you, you want something else to cry about? My question says, what more can you actually, you gonna kill me at this point? Like, I don't know what more you're gonna do to me. And I would get so like, that makes no sense. If you want to stop me from crying, surely you don't hit me again. Yeah. Like, just think about that. And even as a kid, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, these are the thoughts in my head. Like, obviously, if you don't want me to cry, if I'm annoying you, you've already beat me. The last thing you want to do is beat me again. This is not going to end well for you. Like, I'm going to keep crying. Like, I'm going to still feel away. And I guess it was like the fear factor. I hit you again. Okay, I'll be quiet. I'd be like, I'm crying louder. Fuck y'all. Y'all gonna feel my pain today. Like, I guess for me it's different. I'm sure I was hard to do. I was a little asshole. I'm sure I always had answers for everything. Always had something to say. I always second guessed the things I was told. You know, I always asked questions. That was just me. But I think there has to come a time when you can, as a not a child, but as like into your teens maybe, where you can check your elders, because there's times where they say things and you're just like, what are you talking about? Like, that makes no sense. And it's like, because of age, they think, I'm gonna say this and there's absolutely nothing you can say to me to disprove it. And I'm like, nah, and I feel sorry for parents and elders now, because Google's a motherfucker.
Google doesn't say it's true. Alexa, what do you think?
Google's, and I'm saying, like, hey Alexa, is it true that you know what I mean? Like, when I was younger, we didn't have Google and Alexa, so it was like my mom say something that was law. Like my uncle say something, my aunt say it was law.
You're actually right.
Nowadays, tell your kids something, they're gonna look at you and be like, get on their phone. Is it true that boom, 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 boom? Mom, what are you talking about? Like, get it straight away, show your phone. This don't make no sense. Look, this is what it said. This is Google, Mom. This is Google. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's hard, it must be harder to be a parent now. It has to be, because you must be getting checked left, right, and center, like, every day.
Definitely. How many people are getting checked nowadays where their old views in like the 80s and 90s,
yeah,
like
80s shit, like, 2001.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But I'm saying, like, from like the era of when they grew up, do you know what I mean? Like, when they were like 20, 30.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
To now, where it's like, and rightly so, like, you can't say racist stuff, you can't say homophobic stuff and all that sort of stuff. And they're getting checked at the dinner table. Like, it's just...
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I remember when the whole Black Lives Matter thing was going on, there was actually like a white girl who was like 14, 15 or whatever, and her mom and her dad's a senator or something like that, and her mom was arguing with her, and she was saying, basically, her dad was like, you can't eat at my dinner table if you're going to be talking about Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. And she was just kind of like, why not? And she was bringing up all the facts and all that type of stuff. And the family, you could like see, were like, nah, bro, we're not on this. Like, stop, shut up, boom, boom, boom. But like, she's bringing up facts on Google. Like, this is stuff you can't refute. So at that point, you're just being ignorant to the information. So she's checking her parents on the bullshit they're on. You know what I'm saying? And people don't realize, like, I don't think people who grew up in those eras, you know, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, realize that this is the information age. Now, we've argued before about the effects of too much information. But sometimes things are just said for no fucking reason. And it's just like, yeah, but that's not true. Like, cause on the Google, like I would love, God rest my grandmother's soul. Both my grandmothers, but I only really knew one of them, my father's side. I would love to see how she would be like in her prime in this era. Mm. Like when I first started being around my grandmother, bruh, like I'd love to see how she'd adjust in this era. Because imagine she used to say things to me, and I'd be like, all right, cool. But like now, it's like not doubting anything she said, but if I looked on it, it's like Google, I'm like, hey, grandma, come on now, look at this. Like, read that real quick. She'd be like, well, I want that goddamn phone.
I think it's important to have that level of thinking when you're younger, to not
100%,
to not be a kid where you get told by adults that this is how stuff works and this is how stuff is run.
Yeah,
I think like it's important that the kid listens to you, right? That's important, but it's important to have a critical level of thinking where you can dispute other adults, because I feel like sometimes, and it's like what we said before about putting yourself in a situation or teaching your kids about, I don't know, like walking around the hood or being a young woman and walking in the park late at night. Like,
yeah,
if you teach your kids that, then when something is wrong, they'll stand up and say no, or they'll stand up and say, like, you shouldn't be doing that. But I feel like sometimes a lot of these sort of cases and these historic cases is because there's kids and then there's adults. Like, you listen to the adult no matter what the adult's telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's interesting to see.
I think there's definitely respect. There's definitely has to be a respect level that comes with
that. Of course, yeah.
With parents, children, elders, what have you. I still stand on that. But I want to raise my own children in the thought of it's okay to question why things are being done the way they're being done. It's okay to ask questions on why I move a certain way, why your mom moves a certain way. When I was a kid, you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
You stay in a kid's place and all that type of stuff, which made me want to grow up faster because I was like, I'm getting left behind. Clearly, I can't be in the best conversations. I can't be around this. I can't watch this movie. I can't do this. And fair enough. Yeah. But I think there's a way to talk to. Yeah. But I think for the most part, your kids being advanced and knowing a lot about the world they live in, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's just how you do it.
It's like,
and I think we have to all be
just making sure that they understand, like you said, the world that we live in, because I think that's really important, and that they can come to you for anything, because I think that's the problem as well, because people distance themselves so much from their kids. I don't mean affectionate wise. I mean in the sense of talking to them. Yeah, talking to them about real stuff, and like how are you today, like your mental state and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when they get to like 18 or 19, they're like, how come you didn't talk to me about that? It's like, well,
it's like because you missed all those years where it was important.
But it's important where you have that sort of connection where you can sort of come to that person.
I remember me and my mom, we didn't really because I have sisters, so we didn't really start building our relationship until I was 18.
Yeah.
Because my sisters, being in a predominant women household, my sisters were always, into stuff, things were going on. So as the one and only boy in the house, I would kind of just play football, come home, watch football, play video games, and stay to myself. And then obviously when everybody left and I was the one left, me and my mom really started to talk and build a relationship. She started learning more about me. I started learning more about her. But in that sense, my mom's old school, so there's still that element of you're the child, I'm the parent. Yeah. I know when I raised my own, I'm erasing that element, not in the sense of respect, but in the sense of conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be able to have an open dialogue and explain to you why I do things the way I do them, or why I see things the way I see them. And you should have that same open dialogue with me and tell me the same thing. I think one of the most taboo things is talking to your children about sex and how hard that is and so on and so forth. You got to break those walls and those generational curses in order for it to all make sense and make your kids understand that at the end of the day, I think let me say it this way, and I'll end on this. I think the biggest thing that you have to accept as a parent, and that was hard for our parents because generational curses, things you were taught, is children are children. You're right. They're young. They haven't really experienced a lot of life. 100%. And most of the experience they get, they're going to get through you. But they're still human beings.
Mm.
Being a child doesn't automatically say that you're not a human being. You don't think, you don't breathe, you don't have your own feelings. You have to cater to that because that's important when helping someone grow. I'm not raising you. I'm helping you grow. Raising you is an old concept. I've got to help you grow as a human being.
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, if your kids come to you with genuine logic and check something that you've said, you can't be mad at that because you want them to be smart and you want them to question everything.
Mm.
Because if they don't question things, then that means they're followers and they're just going to go along with everything.
Yeah.
So then you end up with kids you didn't want to raise them that way. But it's Birdlines. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, know when we post. And I think the message for this video is to erase the generational curses, man, and start your own platform with your children and with the younger people so you can actually have open dialogue.